Welcome, everybody. This is the BKBK podcast where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. We are back in the studio this fine Sunday evening to talk about, you guessed it, the New York Jets. We had a great win against a very good defense in the Denver Broncos last week, and we had another good win against Andrew Luck and the Colts today. Could this be a modern-day version of Joe Willie versus Johnny U? Nah, but I don't think so. But, hey, let's talk about it, huh? Let's talk about it. So I'm here with in studio with my man Brian.
That's right.
All righty. And we have Captain Kyle McKenna via satellite. And, Capo. And, the only person that we don't have in our studio today is, Kerry. Kerry kind of blew us off, which kind of tweaked me and Brian out.
Don't I look tweaked?
And Kyle, yeah. Check him out. You see that tweaked face? And check out Kyle's tweaked face. Yeah. He just skips out on us.
The subtle tweak face.
It's a subtle tweak, huh? And he skips out on us. But you know what? You want to know why? It's because Kerry was at the Jets game where we wish we were to witness the win, baby.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's take a look at Kerry real quick.
Interception. Let's go. Interception. Let's go. BKBK.
That was the pick six at the top of the game against the Colts. Claiborne took it in for, I believe, 17 yards for the touchdown.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
That was after the tailgate too. You know what I'm saying? So you fired up after the tailgate.
He's already fired up. He might be.
A lot of people don't make it in on time from the tailgate.
Oh, sure.
They walk in slowly and then they miss a big play like that. I hope that wasn't the case.
No, he was there. I think he was a full-fledged witness. He totally witnessed the whole thing. So that's awesome.
That's right.
You know that. So yes, Kerry is not with us, but then again, he's with us.
Always.
All righty. Yes, exactly. So, like I said, from the studio, it's just me and Brian. We got Kyle on remote out there in Seattle, and here's the thing.
What's the thing?
The thing is, the Jets beat the Broncos last week, and we beat the and they beat the Colts this week.
Yep.
It's like, I feel like I've almost figured out the Jets a little bit.
Have you?
I think I have. But before I get to that, let's just talk about overall the game itself. Like, what was your response to the game? If I can start it off, my response is I think the Jets go where the O-line goes. And I think the O-line between last week and this week looked as cohesive and of a unit as I've seen all season long. And this allows for us to be able to really study Sam Darnold because he's doing it from a place of a stable O-line, and we can see where his flaws are. We can also see where he's really, really good and where and how he can continue to grow.
No, I definitely agree with that. We were really concerned, and that was the number one thing probably with everybody in the room. Kerry particularly was concerned about the offensive line. And you don't throw Sam Darnold out there because, without a good offensive line, he's going to get hurt and he's not going to be able to develop. But you can see in the 3 wins, we had excellent offensive line play. Sam Darnold had the time to throw. We ran the ball down people's throats.
Yes, we did.
300 yards last week. Crowell breaks the rushing record for Jets runner with 217 yards, which is just ridiculous.
Wow.
So when you look at the offensive line, and I think part of that you have to put on Bates and his ability to scheme some of that to fruition because, again, the Colts, you're not really concerned about their defense and their ability to apply pressure, but Denver, you never really said Von Miller's name during the game. So that was really phenomenal, and Sam is given the time to throw, which he's looked good when he has time.
Yeah, listen, I totally agree with you, and I think that we all knew coming in that this year was a rebuilding year. We have a rookie QB.
But can we dream a little bit? We're talking rebuilding, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
No.
But we're 3-3 right now. We're 3-3 right now.
Right.
We're in the thick of the race. You don't want to. Again, we're Jets fans, we don't want to get ahead of our skis.
Yes.
Like, what was
You know
said.
my Steve.
You know my Steves. But I mean, Kyle, tell me, do we have reason to believe here? I mean, we're 3-3. It's 6 games in. Like what?
I think you got to look at what we do well, and if we continue to actually emphasize what we do well, and that the injury situations doesn't put us in a position where we have to kind of extend ourselves in different ways. I was a little worried about the defensive back injuries today.
Yeah.
More so than when Marcus May was out, because I feel like we're a little deeper at safety than we are at corner and nickel. And you guys have always known I've been more of a buster screen guy than you guys.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be Parry was going to kind of be on an island today.
He was,
and at times he was good, and at times not so good.
Right.
But the thing with the run game last week, it makes the play action so much more successful.
Yeah.
So if you're able to rush the ball with the frequency and the volume that we did last week, you're gonna have to respect all run movement. So Jeremy Bates also, he continues to put Sam Darnold in those empty sets that where he's running a really simple quick game with the empty sets, and they were protecting him this week. And the quick screens, I was a little disappointed in Anunwa getting that
fumble.
quick screen and fumbling.
Yep.
And now he's hurt,
Yep.
so
Ankle.
we'll see how that goes. But we got some quick screens to Robbie Anderson, some quick slants to Robbie Anderson.
Those are good
Curse
plays.
was more involved.
Oh, yeah.
Pryor was more involved as well. He had another good game.
I think that was a silver lining because, Sam Darnold loves throwing to Anunwa, and he relied on him for the greater part of the first 4 or 5 games, and he gets lulled into just throwing to Anunwa.
Right.
And so now he had to spread it around. He had to look for other people. Curse, I'm like, why is he not throwing to Curse?
Yeah.
Because Curse is definitely, he's not as physical as Anunwa, maybe not as,
He's
quick
not as
twitch,
fast. He's not as quick twitch.
but he has
He's a
hands and he
possession
runs
receiver.
great routes.
He does. He
great
does.
routes.
And
for
he's
those-
clutch.
Oh, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
a clutch receiver.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those slants that they were throwing to Curse, I mean, we were seeing the yards from that. It was able to sustain drives, and we put up 42 points.
Yeah. -7 because of the defensive score.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, but I'll take that too.
In 3 wins, we've scored over 30 points in each of those games. I mean, that's just, it's phenomenal. We haven't done that since I think 2011.
We've scored 30 points in 3 games in only 6 games of this regular season.
Right.
So that's great for us, the New York Jets, scoring 30 or more points.
I think the one downside I can say is that we kicked 7 field goals.
That adds up to 21 points.
No.
But yes, I hear you.
But understand what I'm saying.
We need to be more productive in the red zone.
Absolutely.
And I see where you're getting.
Absolutely. I guess a different team, those field goals and not turning those into touchdowns. Indy was down by only 1 score. After all of that, after everything we did today, they were only down by 1 score. So
yeah.
You got to remember, not all of our field goals were in the red zone. Some of them were outside the red zone.
True.
And think about how many times did we punt? I mean, we didn't really punt a lot.
Not much.
Like we threw a pick, we had a fumble, so we had 2 turnovers, 7 field goals, and 3 touchdowns?
7 field goals, which is the New York Jets record, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was threatening to break the NFL record, which I think is held by Craig Rubenstein.
Funny.
Yes.
But the positive is that you have, without the 7, you still have 35 points by the offense, and you have Sam Darnold and the running game really being able to sustain drives, keep the ball out of their hands, and put up 35 points on offense, 42 points altogether. I mean, it's phenomenal, And again, can we dare to dream? I mean, is it too early?
Listen, and you said that before to me, but I didn't get to finish my point. It's a fact. Yes, we are in a rebuilding year, but I wasn't saying it negatively. I was just basically saying, yes, it's a fact. I mean, how can you say that we're not in and I'm not saying that you're saying that, but one can just just by looking at it, we got a franchise QB finally.
Sure.
We've made a lot of changes. We have a new offensive line basically from the one that we had 2 years ago, and we're piecing things together. And we have we acquired new defensive players to kind of get into the fold of some of the guys like the Big Cat, which are some of our staples. But it kind of is a rebuilding year for us, especially when we're looking at it from a coaching standpoint of like, all right, we're rebuilding, but we need to see some positives, or else Todd may not be around, or we may be, throwing down a judgment on our GM as well, McCagnon. So for us to be 3-3 with a rookie quarterback, albeit a high-level rookie quarterback, it is a rebuilding year, but I'm also seeing promise in it. And my point is, when you are rebuilding, the thing that you need to have in place is a solid offensive line. And we've had our ups and downs this year, but in all three of our wins, I'm seeing our average offensive line look well above average, especially last week and this week. And I think that in the first 6 weeks, they're now just starting to gel. And we don't have all pros. We have potential pro bowlers, but we don't have all pros, great players. So that can individually change a game, in my opinion. Not just yet. I think we can have really good units. So a unit like the O-line can congeal and come together and be a good O-line. Mm-hmm. The defensive line with the Big Cat, I think, is a pro bowler. I don't think he's an all-pro, right? But he can be the foundation to have a decent D-line.
Jamal Adams,
you know what I'm saying? He has the potential. He's the one guy that I think that has the potential to be an all-pro.
Absolutely.
But right now, he's not, and I think he's more of a Pro Bowl caliber. But our secondary can be another really good unit. We don't have Khalil Mack, We don't have Von Miller. We don't have, in any position. So we have to go by units rather than, say, individuals. And I think that we have the capacity to have good units like the secondary, like the D-line. The linebackers are playing pretty good too.
Yeah.
I
think you also have to look at, like, when it comes to the division, can we be opportunistic? We lost that one game to Miami.
Hated that loss.
Miami is playing with a backup quarterback now. The Bills are playing with a backup quarterback, or back to the starter from Josh Allen, because Josh Allen left the game.
Right.
And then New England, New England is older, so they're always on the older end. So New England's always going to be a tough beat, but we could split with Miami and we could beat Buffalo twice if we are playing the way that we have the potential to play. So, it's really always. I always think back to the Seattle Seahawks when they won the division at like 7-9,
right?
And, and they won a playoff game after that. And it's like when you can take care of business in your division, it makes a lot of things easier. When you have to rely on a wild card, then you're playing against the field, and people have to win, people have to lose, and all kinds of things like that. So if we can be opportunistic and we can keep playing great defense, like. Even though we gave up all those points today, we didn't lose the game on defense with a lot of key pieces missing. So
yeah, we
I thought a good win.
We caused the turnovers, which is very important. Yep. We kept the ball out of their hands. We still stuck to the run, although we weren't as successful with the run.
But we were successful with the actual ball control aspect of
absolutely.
it, which I'm totally happy with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when you look at the schedule, and just kind of pulling it back up. Getting back into my mic here. So you have got Vikings next,
which I think we could potentially beat them, but it's too early for me to speak. But
listen, when you started the year, you were like, "This is a loss."
Yes,
right. And
yes.
Right now, it's probably 50-50. They're not playing very well. They can't run the ball. Their defense isn't what it was last year and what we assumed it was going to be this year. The next game is the Bears. Miami beat them with a backup quarterback.
Right.
Trubisky played well.
Yeah.
Trubisky played well, 300 yards and a couple touchdowns, but it kept the game close, and they ended up beating the Bears. You have
the Bears.
You have Dolphins after that. Then you got the Bills. So if we can come into the game after that, which is Patriots, and get a couple of those wins under our belt there, then we start to look a little dangerous. Again, I don't want to get ahead of my skis. My steez. All those things. But I think we actually have a shot. And the reason why we talk rebuild And I think that's a conversation for us fans, and it's a conversation maybe for the higher ups in the Jets organization. But in that locker room, they're not talking rebuild. They're talking one game at a time. Let's get this win.
Yeah.
Why not us? And I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like, why not us? Why can't we be that
That's because that
team?
term always has a negative connotation.
It does.
It does. And I get it, but I'm looking at it from, I guess just from a different perspective.
I don't disagree with you. In reality,
I
think that's the umbrella of it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to really feel both things at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, we're rebuilding, but why not us?
I think whenever you draft a first round QB because you didn't have a franchise QB before, it's going to be at one level or not a type of rebuild. Because it's a brand new QB out of college, highly touted, and you want him to be the foundation of your franchise for the next, as Kerry would say, 25 years.
Gee
whiz, Kerry, right?
He does say that. Yeah.
He does. He loves
50 years of quarterback.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Sam Darnold's son will take over for him after that. It'll be just a Darnold the whole time.
Right. So, but yes, I do agree with you. The players are not thinking like that.
No.
And that's fine if they don't. Just keep winning and gelling as a team. And like I was saying before, we don't have the players yet for that are like all pro status, but which is fine with me as long as we have good players and good schemes. We can have Pro Bowlers on this team, and we just need to have good units. And by the way, I texted you guys earlier during the game. This guy Williamson, man, I like this linebacker, Williamson.
Solid, very solid.
Yeah, he's flying around there, man. And I think the only game that he didn't look good was the Jaguars game. We had a lot of those shallow crosses and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, they came together. Darren Lee showing up.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see him the entire game until that interception, but you'll take it. That's what you need out of him is those impact plays. So, right now, the wins turn into all-pro players.
Yeah.
At the same time, too.
Right.
So if we end up making the playoffs or we get the record that I think ultimately we will end up with, which is a good one, hopefully, then we'll get those all-pros. It's going to come, and people get recognized for playing well because we played well as a team.
I'd say the closest play that we have, sorry, brother, the closest play that we have to reaching that all-pro status, I would say is probably Jamal Adams because he's not picking the ball off, but he's still causing turnovers.
Oh, absolutely.
He had a strip today as well.
Yeah. He put a hat right on the ball.
Right on the ball.
Yeah.
And he's what he does best. He's always around the ball.
Yep.
He makes a lot of tackles behind the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And he strips the ball. So, and you know what? He'll also get sacks when you blitz him. He's not getting picks. I think he only has one in his entire career, and that was this year earlier on. But
he's playing closer to the line of scrimmage too, so you got to take that into consideration.
Exactly, and
that's
totally
causing the turnovers.
Yeah, and that's not a criticism of him because listen, a takeaway is a takeaway.
Sure,
if you're over there stripping people, I don't care. That's just as valuable as a pick.
Absolutely.
Just because it's not the vanity of going back there and picking it off, looking all pretty as like a secondary player, doesn't matter to me.
Well, you want to go back to what Brian was saying about the shallow crosses and Williamson getting beat on those. Bruce Arians actually brought up during the game today the adjustment that Todd Bowles made to the shallow crosses where he was blitzing guys and dropping linemen. And there was one time where Copeland smacked a guy on a shallow cross, and it was a catch that became an incompletion because he got hit so hard. Also, Darren Lee had an interception.
Yes, he did.
And Williamson had an interception in those places where that might have been where Jacksonville got us. So going back to what you guys were saying, though, as far as like rebuild or more optimistic than that, I think anything over 8-8 is overachieving right now because we drafted and started a rookie QB. So whether they feel in the locker room that it's a rebuild or not, it straight up is because we were like bottom of the barrel last year in record. And then we traded up to get even further to pick that quarterback. So I don't think anybody really expected that we would be in the hunt for the playoffs this year unless we overachieved. And there is always the possibility of us overachieving, and that somebody like Sam Darnold or Pat Mahomes is better early than you thought they would be. Because if you look at Pat Mahomes, it's really he didn't really play that much his rookie year.
Right.
Played
He's
one
teared
game.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was totally right about that, and we should have drafted him.
You're still tweaked.
Yeah, he's still tweaked. He's gonna go to his
I'll go
grave
back
tweaked on that.
You could ask my dad. I told my dad that in Drew Brees' draft that we should pick this guy in the second round, and I was really mad that they didn't. And now
still holding the grudge.
He probably would have been on the bench for 4 years and then went somewhere else and started. But I think that Sam Darnold's coming along really well. You're going to get the rookie turnovers here and there, but like they said early in the year, he's not making the same mistakes twice, and he throws the heck out of the ball. Sometimes I can't believe some of the places he puts the ball.
I know. I know.
So
yeah, the Herndon catch on the sideline,
that was a hot throw.
Which was a hot throw. I mean, it was somewhat of a risky throw, but he knew exactly where to put it. I got to put it high. My guy is tall. He's not going to be able to climb the ladder, meaning the safety, in order to try to intercept that pass at that point. And the one pass that I really loved that was an incompletion was the one in the end zone where he threw it to Anderson, and it just went off his fingertips.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that
in the
ball,
bottom left corner of the screen.
My God, that ball was put exactly where it needed to be. And normally Anderson fishes those balls out, and it ends up being a touchdown because he really goes after it and focuses on those touchdowns.
That was the same type of throw that he had last week, and he fished it out. You
Absolutely.
know? Yeah.
And Anderson's like, yo, this is a touchdown, baby. I'm catching it. If it's like a shallow cross, he was like, whatever. You know?
Did you guys notice that we had almost as many tight ends active as we did wide receivers?
I did not notice.
We had Herndon, Leggett,
out there,
Tomlinson, and Neil Sterling.
Yep.
All played in the game. So that's 4 tight ends that we played today, and I think every single one of them had a catch.
That's because we don't have a fullback.
Exactly, I was about to say that. Yeah.
Not Leggett. No, Leggett didn't have a catch, did he?
No, he didn't have a catch.
But
on Herndon's touchdown, he was open too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was open too. Yeah. He just, that was the better play, and Darnold put it there. But, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Had some yardage on the ground too.
Yeah. He some yards on the ground.
And I love the fact that he can get out of fishy situations. He's got such good pocket presence for a rookie.
He does.
I love that. I love that so much. And then he can make throws on the move better than any of the other rookie quarterbacks. I would say that Baker Mayfield is more from the pocket pinpoint accurate, especially with his medium throws.
Right.
He reminds me of Breeze Breeze in that aspect. But no other rookie quarterback can make throws on the move when things break down better than our quarterback, Sam Darnold, in my opinion.
I like Mayfield's over the middle from, hash to hash. I like his throws over the middle and stuff, very accurate there. But Darnold outside the hash, deep quarters. I mean, I love Darnold's deep ball, man. It's so accurate. It's like, impeccable. It's crazy.
Hey, Brandon, you want to talk a little Baldwin football, because I'm gonna have to step off.
Yeah, sure.
A couple minutes.
Sure. Talk it up, Kyle. Go ahead.
You guys know that last night was the class of 1993 reunion.
Yes.
Last year we had our reunion. They had theirs tonight, so we were last night. So we were seeing a lot of pics coming up on the social media.
And they had it in Rockville Center for all you Long Islanders over at RVC at a spot called Casey's.
That's where they had.
That's where they had it. Yeah. That's where they had it.
We had to go all the way to
Plainview.
Islandia?
No, Plainview.
That's where ours was?
Yeah. Ours was more north. It was like a hotel. I think it was a Sheraton in Plainview or something like that. Yeah.
Had a good time, though.
Yeah, had a good time. Wish more people showed up.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good time. But I saw some pictures of some Baldwin Brewing class of 1993 football players. Named Kevin Smith, Pete Alacco.
I just so have them, Kyle, here in the studio. And
look
it's
at
up
that
right
segue
now.
right there.
First of all, check out Danny Hansen. I love that pink shirt. This guy, Danny Hansen, great guy, great player, too. Ended up his senior year moving over and getting some play at running back, too. D. Hansen, and was a really good D lineman. Played next to me and Lloyd when we were playing. So I love Hansen. And then you got Smitty, old lineman, great guy. Had that football neck his whole life. You got to love Smitty.
Whole life.
Yeah. And then Alako took over for me at nose tackle after I left. So he was like a plugger type of guy, and he's always smiling, but that kid is really, really aggressive. And then you have John Hodges. John Hodges, you gotta love Hodges.
Yep.
He won that Valley Stream Central game for us because I beat my man. I'm sacking the guy in the end zone. I think I have a safety. The quarterback, he was really in the grass, but the quarterback gets rid of the ball and throws it right to Hodges. Hodges catches it and like dives 2 yards into the end zone, and that's what turned that game around for us. So Hodges was a good outside linebacker / DN for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
What some people don't realize, though, is we had 3 kickers on the 92 team, the 91, I guess, fall of 91, and 2 of them are in this picture. Because
I'm going to go back to the picture right now. Go for it.
John Hodges was the kickoff specialist,
right,
and Danny Hansen was the punter.
The punter, yeah.
And he was a good punter.
Yeah, he was.
He sailed the ball.
Yeah.
And John Hodges, besides being a tight end and a defensive end, I guess outside linebacker in a 3-4 too.
Yeah.
He would go out there in the evenings in the summer and practice kickoffs on the field by himself. And like you hear about people doing the lonely work, like going out there and really working hard. He would actually go out there and kick to nobody.
Appreciate that.
And he took that seriously.
Yeah.
But he was also one of my Sal's Wander In companions.
Sal's Wander In and go in there and get the lobster bisque, right?
And I think his son also played Little League with Ryan Fitzpatrick's kid in Jersey when Fitzpatrick was on the Jets. Said he was a really nice guy.
Okay.
So
I hope his son dominated Fitzy's son. Sorry, but I'm a Bruin, you know what I mean? So I'm rooting. Bruin first. I'm rooting for you, baby.
Last.
Maybe the kid had the Fitz magic in the batter's box. Who knows?
Maybe he did. Yeah. So I reached out to Mike Eel to let him know that. By the way, guys, Mike Eel was a great running back for Baldwin.
Squid.
His nickname was Squid because his last name was Eel, but he was so slippery. We used to call him Squid, and I think that's one of the hottest nicknames of all time. By the way,
all day.
Yeah. A running back being called Squid. What? Come on, man. So So Squid. And
who also had a big play in that Valley Stream Central game, the screen pass that he took for a touchdown.
Yeah,
that was a huge play.
He's built for a screen.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he took that to the house.
Power eye screens.
Yeah,
not a lot of screens in the power eye.
So love Squid, and then just to jump back to Ruby, who leads the NFL in in field goals. You gotta love Ruby, man.
Absolutely.
Remember that? Never forget that Hicksville game. It was him and Derek, I believe, right?
Oh man,
Derek scored. He threw a touchdown pass to Ruby, right?
Yeah.
As we were running up the score. Yeah. No, it was a 2-point conversion. He threw to Ruby. Yeah.
At 58-0.
Exactly.
It was 56-0. That made it 58.
Yeah.
That was
trying to start a brawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a brawl in Hicksville. Please.
Yeah.
I didn't say we were concerned. I'm
Wow. We're gonna start beef. 25 years later.
Yeah, I know, right?
Funny.
Yeah, real tough guys we are, right?
Well, just looking up and talking to Kerry earlier about the current Bruins, they're at 4-3. Got 2 more games against Massapequa and Syosset to see if they can secure themselves a seed in the playoffs coming up.
Gotcha.
So everybody's getting down to the end of their seasons. Mercer Island, we unfortunately lost on Friday, but we have 2 games left too against Liberty in Bellevue and Bellevue High School.
And for everyone that doesn't know, Mercer Island, that's out in the Seattle area. In the Seattle area, that's where Kyle is now. So good luck to Captain Kyle McKenna with that team, and we hope you make the playoffs too.
What kind of offense you guys running? What kind of offense you guys running, McKenna?
It's a spread offense. Your passing game with one back runs, but we mix it up a little bit. Little bit of this, a little bit of that, multiple. Our defense is really good too. Our defense is the top defense in the county. So
Nice.
King County. So hopefully we can catch up with the defense a little bit. You know, maybe we'd be like the Jets, and our offense will pick it up a little bit. So,
All right.
Gotcha. So,
all right, guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna say goodbye. I gotta go to Cub Scouts. So,
Do what you got to
do
do,
your
man.
thing, my man.
all right.
All right, brother. Take
So
care.
long, everybody.
Yeah.
All right,
Take
man.
care. Go Jets.
Go
Go
Jets.
Jets.
Go Bruins.
That's right.
Yeah, guys. So that was Captain Kyle McKenna from BKBK Podcast. Able to join us for a quick while, but yeah, so it's just me and Brian in the studio.
That's
me and
right.
my man B.
That's right.
So basically, the last thing that I want to talk about is I actually feel like I have figured out the New York Jets
Okay.
as far as like their identity.
Okay.
I figured them out, and it's a year-to-year thing because things happen with teams. There's personnel changes. You grow. You're able to execute or maybe not execute the philosophy that you started off with. But right now, after 6 games, I really do think that I figured out the Jets' identity. You want to hear it?
I'm all ears.
All right, boom. Here we are. Okay. The Jets are basically a team that needs and likes to run the ball. That is why on those 3 games where we got handled this year, you'll notice that the offensive line played poorly, and we couldn't run the ball, and we couldn't throw the ball as a result. So the 3 games that we did win, we basically could move the ball as far as on the ground, which helped to set up the pass. And I think that we as a team are a run-first team, even though we like to set up in our spreads. I just think that is just to keep people off balance. But the main focus is to establish a ground game, at least to the point where you can control the clock, which will take the pressure off of our QB to be able to manage a game. And then we want him to manage and then show his spark intermittently, which will allow him to grow. So I think that's the tack that they're taking, and I think that's why they try to implement certain things like that horizontal offense rather than the vertical one, which kind of hindered them. But they were just trying to figure things out. If you notice, we're not doing as many screens, even though it is part of our offense.
Yeah.
But it's not like every stupid play, it's like a dumb screen. And I think they were doing that because our offensive line hadn't congealed yet and come together yet.
Yeah, I think also what I saw in the Denver game was us playing a lot more 3 tight ends, and kind of mixing that in as well.
Yeah.
So that we weren't as predictable because, again, when we spread it out and there's no back in the backfield, you know what we're going to do every single play, and people could pin their ears back and then just rush.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of tip balls and stuff because they know we became predictable. They know we're going to throw it really fast.
You pick a lane and get your hands up.
Pick your lane, get your hands up, tip balls and stuff. We're coming as well. So we're a lot less predictable at this point. We can run different sets as far as personnel is concerned. We put a premium on getting Sam Darnold some time and having the wide receivers go out, run routes that take a little bit more time to run. But, again, if you leave a couple extra blockers in there, Sam Darnold's going to be accurate with his pass if he has the time. Then it allows everything else to kind of come along with. Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't say
I love that word, remiss.
Yeah, man. Remiss and then reminisce like Mary J.
When I reminisce over you, see how smooth. All right, man.
Yeah. P-Rock.
P-Rock.
But, the coaches had a really good game. And one of the things that really showed their change.
Can I just hold you there just one second? Because we were talking about tight ends. I think Kerry has something to say about tight ends real quick. All right?
Let him say it.
Boom.
Kerry from the BKBK Podcast. All right, Jets. See what's going on here. Herndon. I like, right?
He does.
See what we do.
He needs a bottle,
But it does look like that blanket that every baby has when they come out.
Looks like he does gas in it too. He's over there stepping on ducks.
Sheesh.
No, I'm playing. But basically that clip was basically talking about the tight ends and specifically Chris Herndon, who scored that touchdown. And we know that from way back when, your brother, when we were talking about who we wanted to draft
Right.
back in the day, he was one of his guys. So I
Yep.
played that clip because I was just like, all right, let me just give it to Kerry.
Sure.
Because that's his guy.
Yeah.
And it was a nice route. It was a nice throw. And
Yep.
the way that he cut it back to the inside of the field or the middle of the field
Yeah.
to get that angle to score,
Yep.
it was good. So, so I just had to do that.
Oh yeah, that was phenomenal. And tight ends in general, we had a lot of them out there, like Kyle mentioned, and they played well. Besides Tomlinson, I think maybe he had some poor plays out there.
He did, and he's kind of tweaking me out a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, he's been tweaking me out all year, so maybe he can straighten his stuff out.
Yeah.
But again, getting back to the coaches and stuff, the end of the first half, which is always key when you defer or you get the ball in the second half to start it off, you have an opportunity to double score. You can score at the end of the half and score at the beginning of the second half. So when they went down, had a great drive for the field goal, and the play that I'm talking about, they had no timeouts, threw it over the middle. Darnold threw an excellent pass. I forgot who it was to in particular as far as the wide receiver was concerned, but we didn't have a lot of time to clock it. So unlike I think the Detroit game or something like that, where we went down and we didn't score points, and we had the opportunity to do so. Or it was Miami, excuse me, that game, because it was key in that game. But we went down, we spiked the ball, and we were able to get 3 points, and then we turned around and scored a touchdown to begin the second half. It's 10-point swing right there.
Yeah.
If we don't get the 3 points or whatever, again, that the momentum and stuff going into halftime, it's just not the same. So I have to really shout out to coaches, and I think as a team we are growing.
Yes.
And that gives me the momentum to really think like, man, what can we be if we actually start to put this together? Because we've been an inconsistent team. Not that we weren't good, but one week we'd be really good, next week we'd be poor. We couldn't really put it all together, and I think the last 2 games against, again, not terrible. Well, the Colts aren't that great. Denver is a pretty good team overall, I think,
right,
when the season actually shakes out. But I think ultimately we're starting to figure out, like you said, the identity.
Yeah.
Who we are, what we need to do to win,
Yeah.
and let's go out and do that every single week.
And what our philosophy is and what our approach is with the personnel that we have.
Right.
So, for instance, I love it that we don't have a bona fide pass rusher.
Right.
But look at our takeaways.
Yeah.
We've got a ton of takeaways. So, I don't know if this is just luck or if it's scheming or Todd Bowles and, his overall defensive mindset. Mm-hmm. But we are able, I think we're right up there in the top 5 of the league as far as takeaways are concerned. Our sacks aren't bad.
Right.
Definitely better than the Giants sacks. I think they have like 5 sacks in 5 games. Mm. But, whatever. But the thing is, we are still a disruptive force as a defense.
Right.
What we need to do is kind of just tighten things up in being able to stop the run more and be more focused on trying to be more of a dominant team rather than a bend but don't break defense.
Right.
And I think we're actually a pretty good bend but don't break, because I've seen tons of teams in our red zone and then we'll pick it off or we'll finally make a play, to kind of just
or it's a field goal instead of a touchdown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, we don't have that Khalil Mack type, that Von Miller type that'll just totally disrupt it. But I think when you were talking about, like, we're starting to come together, I really do honestly believe that we go the way that our O-line goes as a team.
Yep.
Because it's our quarterback, and he's our franchise quarterback, and he's our starting quarterback, and it's like we really need to focus on this O-line, scheme them up so that we basically call the plays that fits their skill set the best. And today's example was the best example. Not today's, but the past 2 weeks was the best example of how to scheme according to the skills of our O-line, which are producing results right now.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. It's funny that in a game that you win, the O-line could look that good. And in the games that you lose, they look completely
horrific
and terrible. So, I'm feeling positive right now that not only is the team gelling as far as the personnel and the players, but also the coaches and understanding their personnel and what they need to do, to your point. One thing that did tweak me was Stephen Long, man.
Kyle Long? Is it Kyle Long?
No,
Stephen Long.
Stephen Long, our center.
No, Chris Long.
No, our center.
That's Howie Long's son.
Right.
I'm bugging.
I think it's Stephen Long, bro.
Gee whiz. All right, bro.
Anyway, trying to. I think I got the right name.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy's
He's got two sons.
he's trying
Kyle
to
Long
take me all over the place, man. Anyway, the long dude that's the center,
Number 61.
right?
Yeah.
That low, the low snap,
Yeah.
and then he's got high snaps in the week before, and it didn't kill us in those games. In the Denver game, but it did impact the play in this one where it was a fumble. Crowell hopped on it, and then we ended up kicking a field goal instead of a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, snap the ball, dude.
Yeah.
Snap the ball. Like, let's get that to the quarterback. He shouldn't have to think about that because that's a half a second that he could be doing something else, or he's looking downfield for a wide receiver, or he's trying to hand the ball off to a running back or whatever else, man. Can we just fix that, please?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, can I add on and piggyback off of what you're saying? And I have something to offer as far as fixing.
Yeah.
Let's fix Tomlinson, our tight end, our blocking tight end. He gets called for a lot of holding penalties, offside penalties.
Not blocking well.
And he's not blocking well.
No.
So I'm to the point where it's like
throw him in the bathroom?
I kind of want to, you know what? No, I don't want to put him in.
Not there
No,
yet.
no, I don't want to put him in the bathroom yet. I'm not going to do that yet. But I kind of want to. I wouldn't mind replacing him for a different tight end who has really good blocking skills as well. I like the guy, but he's making too many mistakes for me right now, and we're too above average of a team.
Yeah.
To average to above average to like
make up for those mistakes.
Exactly.
Margin for error very slim.
Very slim margin for error.
Yeah.
And so he's been bothering me.
Sure.
Bothering me big time.
Yeah.
So,
I've been losing sleep over that dude, kind of. Anyway, so you have Neil Sterling that's back. He's more of a complete two-way tight end, can catch.
He's a former wide receiver. He's got really good hands.
Right.
He's a former wide receiver that they bulked up. And so that's the thing. That's why Tomlinson is bothering me, but I'm hesitant to say get rid of him.
Right.
Because Leggett is more of a pass-catching tight end. Sterling, more of a pass-catching tight end.
Herndon, same.
And Herndon, kind of the same thing, even though they say that he could develop into a blocking one, but he's going to need time.
Right.
So, I don't know. So, that's why we have 4.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe get rid of that guy and incorporate a fullback. Maybe get Dimitri Flowers back in. Maybe sign him on the practice squad.
You like Flowers, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I like them too, man.
Yeah,
I still do. I want to see what we can get out of him and what he ultimately turns into. I just, I mean, we've won 2 in a row. We looked extremely well in both games on the offensive side of the ball and been very opportunistic on the defensive side. So I can't really have too many complaints. What do you look for us as far as the Minnesota game, man? I mean, that's what's up.
I'll tell you what, the Minnesota game, that's going to be a true test if we've grown since the Miami game.
Right.
Because and also the Cleveland game. Cleveland is actually a pretty good team, and you can see like Cleveland's giving teams problems out there.
Yeah.
I think they got beat up a little bit today, but they're still they're a good team. They're not the quote unquote Cleveland Browns anymore.
Right.
But I just need to see, or when we play the Vikings, that's going to be the true test of like, okay, they have a good quarterback, they have a good offense, they have a really good defense. Have we grown? Can we step up? I like our chances because I feel like I remember a few years ago we all went to the game against Washington and we served up Kirk Cousins pretty well.
Oh, absolutely.
We won. So you remember that game?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we can potentially do that again because I know this year the Vikings don't have that great of an offensive line.
Right.
So I'm hoping that with our defensive line and our linebackers, which don't have any all pros, that we can still like provide pass rush pressure and just rattle Cousins. They've got great skill players. They have a really good tight end. All their receivers are really good.
Yep.
And if Dalvin Cook can get it going, forget about it. So
yeah, I think they're gonna stress this whole conversation that you just had and we had about our identity, and we go by where the offensive line goes.
Yeah.
And their ability to put pressure on their opposing team's offensive line is going to be where we win or lose the game.
Yeah.
Ultimately. Because if we can control and keep the ball out of their hands and their playmakers and keep their offense off the field, and we were able to run the ball, which I think is going to be tough.
Yeah.
And protect Sam Darnold, I think we win the game. If we aren't able to do those things, then I think it's going to be tough sledding, because I don't think with our cornerbacks banged up, May actually left the game halfway through or whatever
It's
as
his
well.
thumb or something like that.
So whatever he injured and stuff, and is he going to make his way back? I think with that being a soft spot in our defense right now, and that being one of their strengths,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough for us to come away with a W, unless the offense really controls the game, and that starts with the O-line.
That does. And that's part of what I did in the last segment. Basically, just broke that down. Like, we are going to go the way that our O-line goes.
Absolutely.
And you have some teams that are built differently and have great players who can still move an offense. Like, Green Bay has a decent offensive line, but they're not known to have like a great offensive line. But they have Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
And he's the great player, the all-pro that I was talking about that makes differences. And that's why Dallas did well as a team, because they had the best O-line in the league for a number of years. And when they got Dak Prescott, he was able to flourish as a rookie.
Right.
And then now there are like chinks in the or not chinks, but kinks in the chain. I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
And their center, I think his name is Fredericks or Fredrickson.
Mm-hmm.
He's out now. He's on IR. He's suffering. And they have another injury, and their O-line was stacked. But now we're seeing like this kid can't really develop the way that he wants to develop because the O-line isn't there. And plus now he also doesn't have the
zero weapons. Cupboard is bare. I mean, without it's Ezekiel Elliott, and that's it.
And that's it. There's no
nothing on the outside.
Nothing. So, but still, it would help a lot more if their O-line was intact and playing well. You go where the O-line is going to go, especially for our team and a young quarterback like Sam Darnold.
Sure,
so, yeah.
Sure.
Now, that pick that Sam Darnold had today, I don't know if you noticed, but he threw it off of his back leg, and he needs to try to get out of that habit because he's got a lot of confidence in his arm, and we kind of have seen him play. We have confidence in his arm too, but he's been picked off at least once every single game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him grow to maybe 2 touchdowns and no picks while still, you can throw the 280. That's fine. You don't have to throw 300 yards, but, I take the 300. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to just see more, and I think the more that, like I keep saying, I sound like a broken record, but the more that this O-line just continues to just gel, then I see us maybe being a 500 ball club.
I mean, hey, that's what I put down on record was 8-8 as far as my prediction on the year, because I felt like Sam Darnold was worth a couple of more wins ultimately, and the way we retooled the roster and spent some money in order to get better players in here. I thought, man, from 5-11 to 8-8, 3-win jump, I think it was definitely something that we could do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just talking Sam Darnold and talking to turnovers, we haven't seen the strip sack. That's one of the things that coming out of college we were concerned about. We haven't really seen that, which is good. Now, some of the interceptions, like last week,
we've seen some of that in college.
Yeah. We've seen the interceptions in college.
And today,
too.
well, right off the back leg,
Yeah, and listen, let's go last week first.
Okay.
He had an interception last week. It was a tip pass. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do,
right?
Yeah.
This week it was a poor decision to throw that ball. Should have thrown it away.
Mm-hmm.
The guy wasn't open, and he threw a bad pass off of his back.
And he threw it short, and the safety underneath came over and picked it up.
Yeah. So, but those are the things that you're happy because he's getting these things out and experiencing them now.
Yeah.
If he was sitting on the sidelines, he doesn't get the opportunity to throw the interception, learn from it, and come and bounce back from it. And one of the things that I really like about this kid is that he bounces back, man.
He does.
He doesn't get down, and some of the other quarterbacks we've drafted in the last couple of years.
I've never seen him sulk.
No, not at all.
He's never had that Eli face with the mouth open.
Oh, my God.
Or like the, who else had that face? Geno, when we had Geno.
Oh, absolutely.
The mouth open.
Well, Gino's still talking about the Giants and this and that and social media. He wasn't a leader.
No, he wasn't.
And that's one of the things. He has some physical tools, but just mentally, he wasn't a leader and able to put it all together. And I think that Sam Darnold, his ability to really learn, bounce back from mistakes, and go out there and just not gun shy, man, and pulling the trigger listen, I'll live with pulling the trigger and throwing it to Robbie Anderson and trying to fit it into a tight window and it ends up as an interception.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that. But those off the back foot, it's like, you know what? Just clean that up, rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Clean that up,
and he
rookie.
will. And I have confidence that he
So
will
do
be able
I.
to clean it up.
So do I. And I'll tell you what else, too. This new offensive coordinator, he hasn't been a coordinator for a number of years until this year.
Right.
I've noticed that he's starting to change things around, too, because I can't put it all on the O-line. I can't put, even though a lot of it was on them, and I can't put it all on Darnold and trying to get away from some of his bad habits that he had at USC, which he's not really showing that much of now.
Right.
But a lot of it had to do with the play calling.
Yep.
And why is Quincy Enunwa, with our weapons, getting 11 targets, 10 targets a game?
Right.
You know, I mean, I love Quincy Enunwa. I think he's a great talent. And I love the fact that Sam Darnold loves throwing him the ball. He says he runs great routes, and he runs like a bowling ball when he gets the –
Sure.
And he sure does.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, this is the NFL. If you keep going to the well too soon, you're going to limit yourself, and they're going to take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
So now you see how much he spread the ball out today.
Yeah.
It was Pryor.
Yeah.
It was Curse.
Yeah.
It was Robbie Anderson.
Yep.
It was
Herndon.
Enunwa, and it was Herndon.
Yeah.
And it was Enunwa until he got hurt as well.
Yeah.
But look at the success that we had.
Absolutely.
You know, so
You can't cover them all.
You can't cover them all.
But they can cover one guy.
And it wasn't all screens.
No, it wasn't.
It was intermediate, down the field, short stuff.
Yeah.
You know what they weren't doing? They weren't throwing that much to the running backs.
They
and I
weren't.
was like, wow, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes you need to get them in the game.
Sometimes you have to get the check down
Absolutely.
and all of that.
Absolutely.
But sometimes, and we had a screen to the running backs that ended up being called back or whatever because there was a legal man downfield, which was fine. But that was what I was saying earlier when a new one went out the game. Sometimes I like to see that.
Yeah.
And you can tell everything that we're talking about. Yeah, sucks for you. Thanks for trading me Connor, by the way. At least I'm not getting super blown out, but, you know, the guy's keeping me in some games.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, I digress. So the game that you saw that he was going to a new one too much and those short screens were killing us was Cleveland.
Yes.
That was the game.
Yeah.
Because first half we were killing them, running the ball, and then all of a sudden we stopped running the ball. We kept on throwing these short screens or whatever else. Balls were getting popped in the air, interceptions and all that kind of stuff were happening. And that's where you really saw it. Like Bates at that point was like, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, we were successful with it in the past, but we can't do it every single darn game. So it was good. I'm glad to see that they're diversifying the offense. Some of that is also the fact that he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Got Darnold out there. He's a rookie. They wanted to protect him a little bit, but by protecting him, you're kind of holding him back in the offense as well.
You know how you protect them? You protect them by coming up with a better game plan and not doing like 15 screens in a game.
Right.
You know, so and running the ball more and being able to create a little play action stuff. I think nothing helps out a QB more than being able to confidently establish play action.
Right.
And the way you do that confidently and competently
Right.
is by having a running game.
Yeah.
And we've done that in each of our wins to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And we just need to just establish that once again in Minnesota, because that's going to be a tough one. Not in Minnesota. They're coming to our house. But it's going to be tough because they are a good team. But you know what? I kind of want to rough up Kirk Cousins. Remember in the preseason, all that, you know.
Of course.
We need to get Kirk Cousins. I mean, I never wanted him.
Right.
Never wanted him. But now I kind of want to just show people why I never wanted him.
Well, you know, it's my wife's grandfather's team. We just beat her, my wife's team, the Colts.
The Colts, yeah, goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah.
Now we got to throw Minnesota in the toilet, too.
Yeah, and flush them.
Yeah, that's right.
No toilet paper. All righty, folks. Hey, man, thanks for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. So keep watching. You can find us on Facebook on our BKBK podcast fan page, Twitter on @BKBK podcast, Instagram at BKBK podcast, as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK podcast, hit the like and the subscribe button to show the love.
That's right.
That's it. Let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins.
Go Jets, baby. Go Bruins.
And let's go Team BKBK.
That's right.